Hi, I'm Neva, an engineer at Buildkite. Today I'm going to be talking about the agent stack for Kubernetes version 2 that we're going to be releasing in March 2023. So what is it? Well, we've written a Kubernetes controller that will allow you to run your Buildkite pipeline steps as Kubernetes jobs. It's all packaged in Helm chart and it's all open source, and both of them are available at this GitHub. So why are we doing this? Well, some of our customers have been asking for this for a while. For everyone else, we think that running a CI system in containers will improve its reliability and reproducibility. On the cost side of things, we think that using an orchestrator that's really good at scheduling workloads into the available resources will save you some money. And also the fact that containers are lightweight, start up quickly, will make your developers happy as well. Finally, there's a whole ecosystem of tools on Kubernetes that are trying to solve the challenge of compute at scale. And we're keen to put the agent into this ecosystem and see how it evolves. Okay, so let's have a look at the architecture. So you'll see that in your Kubernetes cluster, there will be a namespace with a agent stack K8s controller. The controller will be polling the Buildkite API using GraphQL for builds. It will schedule the jobs in those builds as Kubernetes jobs. That job will have a pod, and the pods will have containers, which have the responsibility for doing things like acquiring the job from Buildkite so that nothing else starts running it, checking out code version control, running the job, checking that the status is okay, and uploading that and any artifacts back to buildkite.com. So clearly the containers are sharing some stuff, and you can see more details about that in the README. Let's have a look at some Buildkite YAML. So firstly, notice that you need a queue called Kubernetes, and every step should have a special plugin that's also called Kubernetes. Now inside the plugin, we've allowed you to embed essentially the Kubernetes pod spec, and you can add familiar concepts from Kubernetes like node selectors, volumes, service accounts, things like that. Obviously, you'll also need some containers, and the command of this container is what the step is going to be running. Image for the container can be anything you want. You don't have to worry about having the Buildkite agent in there. We'll copy that in for you. And of course, the command and args need to be lists. So one concept we thought that would be handy to add to the usual definition of a Kubernetes job is Sidecar Containers. Sidecar Containers are containers that are running alongside the job, but whose exit status isn't reflected in the Buildkite job's exit status. So prototypical example of this is we've got an integration test of the database sitting off to the side, but it's the exit status of the test container that you actually care about. So you can see that there's a slight variation to the syntax for this. We just put containers under this sidecar key in your Kubernetes plugin, and they'll be able to communicate just like any other containers in a pod, so through localhost. Let's see this in action. So you can see on the left, I've got a build that I've prepared earlier. On the right, I'm looking at the Kubernetes namespace that the controller is running it. That's this pod here. And you may notice there's another pod in here called Buildkite. That's a service from Docker, and we're using it to help us build container images. This job here is using that. Let's hit rebuild and see what happens. So the job has started up. One thing to note is that this UUID here is the same as the UUID of the job on buildkite.com. It's also in the pod here. So while we're waiting for the jobs to finish running, let's have a peek at what the YAML's. Oh, so you can see there's quite a few containers in here, and there's more details about those in the README. There's a lot of environment variables as well. You might be familiar with some of them from Buildkite.com. There's a shared volume. There's some secrets, which Kubernetes hides for us. The one useful thing is we put the build URL as an annotation. You can just click that, get the build. Also, Buildkite, notice that the agents are in there, but they go away pretty quickly because they only last for a single job. And there's some tags in there about the state in Kubernetes as well. If the job's done. So thanks for listening to this. Essentially, we're putting this out there to gain your feedback. We're well aware that this is just one piece of the puzzle for using Buildkite with Kubernetes, but we're really excited to see what the complete picture is going to look like. For that, we could do with your feedback. So please hit us up on buildkite.com/support. As always, we're looking forward to reading your issues and PRs on GitHub. Thanks.